What's up, everybody? Welcome to MoveU Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Wasilison, and today is a topic that I've really never taken the time to simplify for y'all. Most of the social media videos are 1 minute, and I just got to blurt it all out. Here, take a little breath, and statistically, you're not going anywhere, according to our stats. 85% of you stay to the end. It's good to know. It's good to know. So what the topic is today is the 4 pillars, the 4 corners, the 4 fucking quadrants, the 4 somethings to a life free from pain. So what it means is this. Many of you listening, you do have pain, right? You got back, hip, knee, ankle, foot, all these things. And you're looking to move out of that space into this life, with roses and rainbows and dandelions, like the drug commercials. You're frolicking and free from pain. And I'm going to help you understand the 4 aspects that it takes. And it's like 4 wheels. It's like all the wheels of these need to be turning at the same time for a period of time. It's like 4-wheel drive, but you're off-road, okay? You're literally in the mud, stuck, and you put it in 4-wheel drive, and you hit the gas. All 4 of these, you got to put your differential locks on for my freaking nerds out there. They go, actually, only 2 wheels spin, 4-wheel drive. Put the differentials on. Now, all these wheels need to spin, and then slowly you gain momentum, right? You're still kind of stuck. You're spinning, flipping mud, flipping water, and then you slowly start to accelerate out of this mud until you hit dry ground, and then now you're accelerating, and now it's the mud's behind you, right? And that's the 4 corners. Maybe call it the 4 wheels.
No.
4-wheel drive to a pain-free life?
No, I don't like that.
Okay.
But I think they get your point.
Okay, you get the point.
Yeah.
And so what you're going to find about these 4 is this. Some of you are really strong in one of them. Some of you are strong in 2 of them. Some of you might be really strong in 3 of them, but there's one you're neglecting. I usually find that people kind of veer to the easiest one. They do the recovery. They're just like, because it's easy. You don't have to do anything. You literally just drive to the therapist and just flop your freaking carcass on a table, and your arms just flail off, and you just go, just get me.
Yeah.
Fix me. Massage me. Stretch me.
Right.
Adjust me. Operate on me.
Fix me.
Surgicalize on me. Inject me. Put needles in me. Laser me.
Okay.
Light me.
Okay.
That's the recovery techniques. Which are Fabby is, by the way, here. This is Fabby. I love Fabby. Fabby, if you guys have never officially met her, she is one of my favorite people on earth. She's my patient, and now she is my assistant, but she schedules. She's my front office for movies. She also manages, runs the team, make sure everyone on the team's happy. And now she's the...
I like how I'm your front office, but we don't have an office.
We don't have a front office. People message us to schedule appointments. They'll say something like, we only take cash. They go, what time at clinic do you run? We're like, it's not a clinic.
No.
It's just me and Fabby.
It's good to be here.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Mm-hmm. Great to have you. So Fabby's going to be keeping me, it's like bumper bowling, The ball has got to at least be heading down towards the pins. And so
trying to manage you is what I'm doing.
She's trying to manage me. Okay, so you've got these 4 areas, and I'm sure by now the suspense is just so high. What are these 4? What are they? Give them to me. Give me the 4. I'll give you the 4. And then what we're going to do is discuss a little bit about each one of those 4, so you can kind of understand and go, oh, wow, I definitely need more of that. Or I'm pretty good there, but I'm not good here. And then what we'll do is then we conclude.
But then maybe in the future, we'll do a podcast on each one.
Yeah.
A little more in-depth.
Make sure you comment, too. Make sure you comment. I don't know where to comment, but make sure you comment. Because if you comment, I know what you want, and I'm motivated to do more.
I don't know where you comment.
I did podcasts before, 50 of them, right? And I never got much feedback. I'm like, is nobody listening? It showed the listeners.
Okay.
But the comments give me motivation.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what you need in your life. Your 4-wheel drive. Your front left tire is your alignment. The alignment of your body, the alignment of your frame. Number 2, the front right wheel is movement. That is moving your body every day through certain ranges of motion and certain movements. Your back left wheel That's your mindset. That's your mindset. The mindset of success, the mindset of winning, the mindset of overcoming. It's a certain mindset. And then the back right wheel is that recovery. That's everyone's favorite one to go to first, the recovery techniques. So now, let's get into some detail about, let's start getting into alignment and what that means. So body alignment, specifically discussing alignment, we're going to refer to the joints of the body. You have many joints, like your knuckle here, that's a joint when you bend your fingers, you've got the knuckle joints, those are joints. Your shoulder joint itself has one. Your knee and each one of your vertebrae, you've got 24 vertebrae, and there's actually 4 joints on each one of those vertebrae. But the alignment refers to the positioning of the joints in your body. Now, there's this ideal state of alignment, and it's called joint centration. It was a coin termed by the Prague School of Rehab. By the way, if you guys have never been to Prague, awesome. Some of the best food. I tried to visit them over there. I didn't make it to there. Prague, Czechoslovakia, incredible place. Prague School of Rehab coined joint centration, which is an ideal centered position of each joint. And when the joint is centered, meaning the top of the joint is pushing down equally on the bottom of the joint, there's maximal coverage joint to joint, and that creates 360-degree balance of ligaments, of muscles, and of tendons. Every joint in your body has an ideal centrated position at any given moment of your life. If you're falling off an 8-story building and tumbling in the air, right before you hit the ground, there is an ideal centered position of your joints. There's an ideal centered position that would allow your body to properly accordion. But sometimes the force of gravity is so much that even your most centered position, it will crumble your joints and break them and fracture them, etc. But there is an ideal position. There's an ideal position for how you're sitting, how you're standing, when you walk, when you run, when you have sex. There's an ideal center position. And now, to make it simple, I've broken it down into your 5 strongest positions of your body. The 5 strongest positions of your body. So now, you got these center positions. You got all these joints, like hundreds of them, right? And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it easy for you guys. We're going to make it into 5 movements. Each movement maybe centers 40 joints here, 30 joints here. Okay, and now, each one of these is connected to the other, and then eventually you learn, it's a phrase that I came up with, I love it. It hasn't caught on yet, but I have a feeling I'm going to keep pushing this thing till I die. And it's called a positional presence.
That's a good word.
You like it? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Positional presence. Because people say awareness, they use like, are you aware? But aware doesn't really, aware of your body position, it doesn't really give a specific thing to what it is. Just like my uncle, he's like this big, he's like super famous dude with like in psychology, and he goes like, stress, it tells you everything, and then it tells you nothing at the same time. And so joint centration, a positional presence is the awareness of the positions of your joints at any given moment. The positional presence is the awareness. And I guess I haven't really decided if it's going to be positional presence. No, it would be.
For what?
Right, for what? It'd be like for one area of the body or for the full body. Ideally, it's the full body. Being aware, positional presence is, I'm putting the fucking stamp on it. It's the awareness of the position of all of your joints in your body.
Head to toe.
Thank you. At any given moment. And so the ways that I teach this are through those 5 strongest positions. You learn 1, then you learn 2, then you make 1 plus 1. Then you learn 3, and you go 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? Number 1 is the ability, it's called the MoveU core brace. And it is specifically the ability for you the awareness of the alignment of your spine. That's going to be from your thoracic spine down to your lumbar spine and your sacrum. The alignment of all of the vertebrae there in your low back. I'm learning I have very little room to demonstrate here. I just find myself like touching my nipples for some reason.
That's how we're going to keep you contained into one spot.
Oh, I see. Maybe a little more elbow space. I don't know. Okay. So that's the MoveU core brace, the alignment of your back and of your core and all of the vertebra. Common misalignments with that are very common are too much anterior tilt, posterior tilt, uneven hips, hip unleveling, kyphosis, scoliosis. Those are misalignments. So if you have any of those, then you don't have the ability, you don't understand the MoveU core brace yet. Next is the hip hinge. And that's the ability for you to maintain alignment of your spine as you hinge forward from your hips. Your body is designed from the factory to rotate around your largest ball and socket joint of your body. It's your hip joint. And so hinging, when you bend, anytime you bend forward, you can think of a deadlift, for example, or bending, hinging from the ball and socket joint, exclusively hinging from that through its full range and back up again while maintaining the core brace is the hip hinge. Super common misalignments with the hip hinge, disc herniations, rounded back when you squat, butt winks. Butt winks can be more in the core brace. You've got rounded back, weak glutes, tight hip flexors, piriformis pain. Oh my God. And of course, how did I miss the biggest one? Hip impingement, FAI, labral tears, hip osteoarthritis. Those are all symptoms. Those are all signs and symptoms that you are not hinging properly. Any feedback on that, Fab? What do you think?
No, that was good.
I feel like it's coming off the tongue decently.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on a roll, Mike.
Thank you. That's what I got here for.
Am I just your cheerleader?
I think at times. You know when not to be, though. Like today, I told her the studio, I'm like, look, it was all organized. And then the first thing she goes, what was organized about it? And what I heard was, this ain't fucking organized. Sorry.
You said, I'm sorry you weren't impressed.
Yeah, it took me a while, though, to get the right words on that.
Sorry. I should have been more impressed.
Yeah, that's okay. No, I appreciate that you're not.
Okay. After hip hinge.
So then, after the hip hinge is this one. You're not going to find this one on Google because I made this one up. It's called ground force. Ground force is the ability for you to apply outward torque to your foot as you lunge, as you walk, and as you run. So basically, applying outward torque, meaning your foot. So the ground force is the ability for you to grip the ground with your foot by using your deep foot muscles, align your ankle from inverting from everting, then to properly track your knee over top of your ankle when you lunge, when you squat, when you walk, when you run. Ground force. Common signs and symptoms that you don't have ground force: flat feet, chronically rolled ankles, shin splints, bunions,
fasciitis,
plantar fasciitis, fasciitis. Thank you, Fabi. You've got issues with knee pain, all knee pain, ACL, MCL, PCL, runner's knee, jumper's knee, quad tendonitis, TFL, IT band issues, and that is just coming off the top of my tongue. Those are signs. If you have those, you don't have the ability to apply ground force
properly.
Thank you. Next is the scap scoop. The scap scoop is it's an alignment position of your shoulder and also your upper back, where it's so fascinating. It's that like the most complex joint in the body, at least regarding this, is the shoulder joint, because you've got this scapula, the blade, that no one even knows what the hell it is. You don't see it. You don't even know what it does. It just kind of goes along for the ride. I believe I think it's your only free floating joint in your body, meaning there's no ligaments, there's no capsule. It's just literally sitting on your back, and it's controlled by all these pulleys of muscles, right? And so now the scapula is designed to guide the movement of the arm. Well, most of the time, whether for whatever the reason, we'll get into that, but the scapula scoop is the ability for you to depress, upwardly rotate, and retract the scapula into position and sustain that throughout the day. And then the scap scoop name doesn't define what occurs next, because after you get the scap scoop, you then need to have scapulohumeral rhythm, meaning that your shoulder blade is designed to guide the movement of the arm. So when you push, the scapula protracts and upwardly rotates. Whenever you pull, the scapula retracts and guides, and so there's rhythm. The scapula leads it. And I'm still working to simplify I'm still trying to simplify, the way that's taught, because it's a very complex joint.
Yep.
But learning the scap scoop is amazing. It literally fixes 95% of everybody's misalignments instantaneously. And so the signs that you are not scap scooping and don't have scapulohumeral rhythm, upper trap pain, shoulder impingement, rotator cuff tears, scapula winging, upper back pain, kyphosis in the back, any type of trigger points, radiating arm pain, neck pain, disc herniations of the neck, osteoarthritis of the neck. Those are just a few. Did I miss something there? I feel like I might have missed something, the neck and shoulder.
I don't think so.
Just poor range of motion with the shoulder, too. Just poor range of motion, tightness, stiffness.
Dislocation, right? Like, can't that weaken that whole...
Oh, yeah, chronic dislocations. These are all, and guys, we'll get into these in a more, I can get way into these in a more detailed podcast. But those are all, these are just some common ones that are just coming off the roof of my mouth. Coming off the tip of my tongue? Tip of my tongue. They're coming off the roof of my mouth. What the hell comes off the roof of my mouth? You know what I was thinking about is we have a 4-month-old puppy yesterday, and I did the peanut butter trick with her yesterday where I just got a big glob of peanut butter and stuck in the roof of her mouth.
Oh,
it's like, how long were they going to lick their mouth for? It was about 25 minutes for her.
Sounds like torture.
I mean, it's a little taste of deliciousness every time.
That's true.
It's like a lollipop for us humans, right? It's torture. I got to keep, well, is it though? It's a lollipop. So then last is the head pivot. And that's the ability for you to place your ears over top of the tips of your shoulders. So to basically align your head on top of your upper back. You align your head on your upper back, and then from that position, then you rotate left and right. Then you look down, you look up, and you side bend all from this aligned position. And many of you, and the scap scoop is first. I'll get into this. Like, you have to know how to scoop your scaps into position before you properly retract your head. So that's a prerequisite. So the prerequisite for the head pivot is the scap scoop first, and then followed by the head pivot. But so the common symptoms associated with that: forward head posture, chronic headaches, tension headaches, disc herniations, joint pain in the neck, radiating pain down the arms, neck, shoulder tightness, lack of range of motion of the neck, and overall standing like one of my patients, like a comedian. He says he goes, he says he looks like a crustacean. I was like, that was good. So I like working with comedians. You look like a crustacean.
Most teenagers.
Yeah.
I mean, adults too.
I mean, it's just like they sit us at. I haven't gone back as much. I think Kelly Starrett wrote a book on like I don't really know all like the stats about why. I mean, there's some super common things. I mean, just sitting, right? As a kid, they literally sit you at a desk for how many years?
8 hours. Yeah.
8 hours. And for me, like, I don't know if kids are writing nowadays as much, but I actually still have this thing where my head, because if I write, I'm turning this direction.
Oh, I think I do that too.
So if you look at yourself in a mirror, guys, I'm literally, the pitch isn't like this. If you see someone's head tilted, it probably, my theory is it's in the direction that they grew up writing as well.
Oh, that's so weird. I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
You totally tilt to right.
Yeah, you tilt to right. You don't tilt the other way.
No.
If I was a teacher, I would. I'm like, all right, everyone's writing backwards for the next 3 years. Do it. Yeah, well, that's the only thing I can really place. Because you get someone like me, I go to, 12 years in school, then 5.5 years for a bachelor, because I couldn't do it in 4, because I spent time doing other things. And then 4 more years for a doctorate. So it's like 20 years, or whatever the hell it is, just in a desk.
Yeah. So
these things are, that brings me to the next part, which is actually a really nice transition. But those are the most common, those are the 5 strongest positions, and those are also the most common misalignments. And also, not just misalignments, but misalignments and symptoms. Remember, you got misalignments are things that you can see with your eye, with a camera, or with an x-ray, and symptoms are things you feel. So what I do, and what I really spend a lot of time in doing, is relating the misalignments. This misalignment, posterior tilt of the pelvis, lack of hip hinge, that's a misalignment, is related with disc herniations in the back because it causes compression of the disc. And so the root cause of the issue, as far back as I could really see, is going to be the posterior tilt and the lack of hip hinge. So most people, though, in almost all of healthcare, just focuses on, and this is actually into the mindset section a little bit, they focus on only the symptoms, right? They don't get to any of the misalignment. They just focus on only the symptoms. Oh, you have disc herniation pain? Well, we cut it. We just do some stretches. You do some massages. You basically try to relieve the pain, and then you're
just masking it all.
You're just
right?
It's just really a mask.
Yeah.
It's just a mask. You're just trying to mask it, or you're trying to numb it a little bit, trying to make it feel better through therapies. Where with MoveU and myself, I strongly, strongly believe, and not only that, but Fabi, you see it as well, the results for years of just fixing the misalignment. And some of the difference with that is if you fix the misalignment, it often takes, symptom relief is easy. You take a pill. People are like, I need pain-free now. Take a pill.
Right.
Double down on the codeine and the Vicodin. You're going to feel better pretty damn quick.
Yep.
Short-lasting, a fast-acting short-lasting. Fixing your shit is often slow-acting, long-lasting. And so that's where we'll get into that as we move along. But getting it, that's what I love to help people do, is fix those misalignments to help the root cause. And if that's something that you are passionate in as well, you guys need to check out our membership. You go to MoveU.com, check it out, guys. It's I'm most proud of that. That's my best life work I've created. And then our team, we've spent just tens of thousands of hours taking this method I created and putting videos on it and putting the right order and having whole workout manuals printed, follow this along in community. For all those 5 misalignments that I told you, the core brace, the head pivot, the hip hinge, all of those are individual programs inside of our membership. So for example, the hip hinge, when you log into the membership, you'll see that as the hips and glutes program. The core brace is going to call back and core. So those symptoms that I said, those are specific program for that. But
it's literally like the best recipe. Like when we see people come in, or people that we hear about, some of our members, they can come in and be like, this is what hurts. This is what's been happening. And it always falls to one of those 5s. And it's like, you don't need to come see Dr. Mike every week.
Right.
It's in there.
It's in there.
Just get in the app, and it's literally step by step.
What is with these people that come
you
in and
diagnose it, and you're like, that's it. Just go. I mean, I get that some people are like, need to hear it from you. Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
But it's literally, most people fall into multiple sections.
They do.
But it's all there, and you follow it, and you fix your shit on your own. It's wild.
So wild.
It's great.
And Fabi, thank you. And back in whenever MoveU, when I started getting popular, people were flying from different parts of the world to see me.
I mean, we still have some of those.
We still have some of those. And what it does though is back in the day though, I would see them. They would come.
The pressure.
I always feel the further people come, the more pressure I have, which.
Oh, crap.
I'm like, they're coming from Lithuania? Where is that on the map?
Yeah.
Holy shit. But people would see me before, and they would see me for a few days, but the truth is fixing your shit is a process. So I'd work with them for a few days, and then what? I can only give them a few things to do, and then I know that those exercises will expire.
Just do the work.
But now we have entire programs to put together.
Yep.
It takes 1.5 years to get through all of it. In fact, I would say a third of the people that come in to see me still don't even know we have.
I know.
How does that happen?
I have no idea. I really don't. I think they just see you on Instagram, and then they somehow see that you take people.
Yeah.
Not that you take everyone, but I don't know. I'm like, are you a member?
They go, what's a member?
I know. It's pretty wild.
So it's all in there. And I guess what Fabi was saying is, now I might as well touch into this one. I almost feel like this whole episode is on alignment at this point.
I mean, that's the biggest thing.
I think so. The alignment aspect is that's my strongest knowledge is on the alignment. That's where my education is as a chiropractor. We're focused so heavily on body alignment. And by improving your alignment it trickles down into your movement, mindset, recovery. You need less recovery. So yeah, it's super important. I won't touch on the other ones.
Yeah.
But the point I was making is that now where it gets a little complex, but it's no need to even worry because everything's everything is connected. All these 5 movements, these positions are connected. Some people, what they have is they have this kyphosis, this rounded back. They come to see us with disc herniation, right, in their low back. But they have kyphosis, big rounded upper back.
So many people have that.
Oh my God, I'm seeing it more than ever.
They hide it.
They hide it. They hide it so well.
Yeah.
And so what happens is this misalignment, and the body hides it. And so that kyphosis, what it does is when this person, I'm just thinking of one person from Seattle. No, actually, he didn't have a disc herniation. But this kyphosis is extra rounding. Now, every time he bends down, he's bending from his upper back. He's further rounding it. And what it does is it causes an accordion effect where basically the whole back rolls down and then the low back rolls down. And as the low back rolls, it just so happens on these people, it crunches the L5 disc in the low back. First is disc herniation. So I'm going to recommend most people start in the back in the core program for alignment. But until they fix that upper back kyphosis, which is going to be scap scoop, which is upper shoulder and upper back, that they're never going to get the long-term results. And they also could have hip alignment. Someone could have uneven hip, but if you have a flat foot, it drops the whole hip down. So until you fix that flat foot and level the hip, it's never going to be the best. So, but I really, guys, I put so much thought into this. And you know what I love, Fabi? It actually, what I'm so proud of is, like, it's kind of a bold move, right? We just literally created the methodology and launched it. It's a combination of whatever years and everything. But what I find myself doing is I'm so happy. It matches our clients in here, which is really nice. It's so nice that and I'm like really confident and still recommending them that path. It's given me a lot of confidence. It's not perfect, but it's the best thing I know of to help you guys fix your shit.
I mean, I'm obviously just learning from you over the years, but sometimes we come in here and we take posture pictures, and I'm like, I know what he's going to say. I know what programs this person needs. Yeah. It's not, I feel like you laid it out so perfectly in the app, in the program, that once you diagnose what it is you need to work on, like, you literally run for it. You take it and it's all there.
You run for it and you go for it. Mm-hmm.
It's great.
The future is going to be, the future I see is like more of a assessment tool that would put an order for people.
Right.
You know what I mean? You do
right. Like which one?
First.
Yeah.
They do something. Shoulder first, shoulder arm level 1, back and core level 1, hip and glute level 1, shoulder arm. That's, I think, the future of it.
Yeah.
But for right now, it doesn't fucking exist.
It will. It will.
It will. Okay.
You want to talk about movement?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about some movement. Number 2 is the second pillar is movement. And what movement actually means to me and what it means to, like, the biomechanic community is that our bodies move in 7 different, they do 7 things. Okay, your body does 7 things. It pushes, it pulls, okay, it hinges, it squats, it lunges, it walks, called gait, and then it rotates. Is that 7? Were you counting on your hand?
I think you said turn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I call it rotate, turn. So that's all the body does, those 7 things. And it does combinations. Like, for example, if you're a runner, really easy, you're doing gait. You're doing a combination of gait with some lunge. Every step. Very simple sport, but you get something a little more complex, like, let's say, jiu-jitsu, for example, right? Now you're doing combinations. You might be in top mount, and you might be pushing, you're turning, you're hinging over, you get a foot up and you lunge. So no matter what sport it is you're doing, or if you're just a mother and let's just say you're a stay-at-home mother, well, when you pick your kid up, you're hinging, you're stepping forward, you're getting on the ground, you're lunging, you're hinging down on the toilet, you know, you're rotating to hit your kid in the back seat. You're doing these they're more simple. They're each one of these, but they're done independently. So movement, and then what I really believe is to clean up each one of these first. So I do believe that most people's brain is able to compute this stuff, okay? My confidence is reducing by the day, but it's still in the positive, okay? I'm joking. I do believe that everyone has the ability to do what I'm about to say. So now you've got, so what I teach people is this. All right, proper position to push. Okay, so now you get into the technique. Starts with the alignment, starts with the ability to scap scoop. Okay, and then you learn to protract and press that scapulohumeral rhythm to push, right? And then you practice your push technique. Your lunge technique, you step forward with your lunge. The lunge is the technique is called ground force, and gait is called ground force. That's the skill. So usually many of these skills are the core concept of each one of these programs. So your lunge is your ability to, your lunge is ground force. So the lunge is the ability for you to step with your foot, apply ground force, and allow your knee to track properly. And so each one of these 7 has an ideal aligned technique position for each one of these 7. And then once you learn these 7, the intelligence of your body and your movement is the integration into your own sport, right? That's your integration, whether you're in bar, you're in Pilates, you're a dancer. When you learn these, it's like equivalent to getting maybe, I don't want to say your black belt, because black belt in jiu-jitsu is like 8 years, because it takes about a year and a half to learn all these. But then you apply that to your own. That's where you like expression of yourself, right? When you kind of take this and apply it to your sport and make it your own. In trainers, generally, with movement, and then it goes, how often should we move? Like those 7 movements. So the point is you should be taking your body, for the healthiest joints, taking your body through all 7 of these movements on a daily basis, to a degree. 7 movements on a daily basis.
And that's kind of what reduces pain in your life, right?
Well, the 7, what it's doing is when you're all 7 of those ranges, meaning if you're doing the 7, you're taking your body through its full range in each joint.
Yep.
So where you might get your lunge, you're going to be doing, if you're doing your lunge, you're getting your knee through a range. You're getting your ankle through a range. You're working on your strength here of your foot, of your hip. And so now those positions, those movements done in alignment, those movements that are done in alignment are going to train your body to be more aligned throughout your life. And I think there's a little overlap here, because I really think MoveU, and I really believe it's like that we're lifestyle. So like all the alignment training that we do and the movement training, like if you're in the gym doing movement training, that you're really training your body for life. Like I've got a free diving trip. I'm a free diver. So I like hold my breath and I dive under the ocean. I like hunt fish that I eat. I don't just hunt them and kill them and just throw their bloody carcass in the water.
Thank you for saying that.
Okay. Some people, do you eat them? Like, what do I do with them? It's a giant tuna. So, but I'm training for this event, right? I'm training for a trip right now. I'm practicing free diving, and I'm practicing it for the trip. Now, here's the difference. With these movements, your mindset needs to switch right now. You're training these movements for 20 minutes a day, an hour a day. You're training them for your life.
Right.
You're training them so that when you're picking up your kids, you're aware of the better alignment. You have better positional presence. You have better joint centration. You better move with your kid. You're training these movements so that when you run, you have more body awareness. Many people, Fabi, what I see is they think that they go to yoga, you do your hour, and I did my workout. I don't think about it anymore.
Right.
Because people tell you what to do. You kind of be mindless.
It's all day, every day. It's like moving mindfully.
It
right?
is. I would say moving mindfully,
which takes so much more work
up front
to really focus on what it doesn't feel as natural to not round and pick something up like an idiot.
Yeah.
But it takes practice and repetitive work, and it takes work.
It takes work. It takes maintenance.
But it's so worth it.
It's always worth it. The long-term gains it was like Robert Greene. He's got a thing. He's like, think about it now. The work, when you look back at your life, and 20 years from now, when you look back at your life, and if you worked for like 12 months or 6 months, when you look back, it'll just seem like a sliver of time in the long run.
Right.
And so these movements, though, they're designed. And this is where, generally speaking, personal trainers, group classes, they're good at the movements. Like personal trainers, they're going to go, all right, today we're going to do pushes and we're going to do pulls. Tomorrow we're going to do squats and we're going to do lunges. Thursday we're going to do rotations. They're generally speaking, good at the movement combination to do. But they don't generally teach you to apply those movements to your life, and they don't know how to be in alignment when doing those movements. Mm-hmm. And that's where you can bring in a bunch of different professionals to kind of alter this thing, or you can just own it yourself. So Oh, that's what you're saying about reducing pain and discomfort. Yeah, well, I think
like learning to move properly.
so.
Like that's your end goal, right?
That's the end goal. Yes, that is the end goal.
Like you want to learn to move properly to not feel like shit at the end of the day.
That's the end goal, Fabi. You're right.
Yeah.
Because you're learning. I teach alignment so that you can then take that and improve the way you move.
Right.
And then you're doing the way you move so that you can move well during the day. And I think she's getting into this point about this, and that really is like, well, what causes pain? Now, pain is complex. There's many variables from your childhood to mental traumas to many different things. Yet the pain that I really help people improve on is pain that's caused by repetitive improper movement.
Yep.
Let me give you an example, a real simple one. Your foot, all right? Now let's talk about your back instead, because most people have back pain. Your back is designed to have a natural curve, like this natural slight S-shaped curve to it, okay? I'm sorry, slight C shape. And now that's designed to be a natural shock absorber, because the shape of your spine is designed to absorb shock itself. And then you also have discs in between each one that absorb some shock as well. But now many of you, because of sitting, whatever it is, have lost that curve of your back. And now the curve is flat. And so it's flat, not because it was just lost one day. You didn't just lose it in the woods. Okay? You didn't go, where did it go? You slowly ticked that curve away over the years because you were not hip hinging properly. Every time you bend, which some research from McKinsey says that we hip hinge 3,000 times a day to a degree. So every time that you hip hinge wrong, instead of hinging from your hips, you fold from your back, okay? Over and over. And I did the math. I think that's about 1 million times a year is rough math. If you're doing 3,000 a day.
I mean, imagine.
Million.
How are you not going to have back pain?
Imagine how would you not.
You do that for your whole life.
Your whole life. For years. You have 1 million times a year times 10 years. And so now what happens is now not only the curve is lost, but you now are every time you bend now, you're overly compressing the front of the disc. And now what happens there is the disc bulges out the back. And then the disc ball, and over time, even longer, then the body makes new bone because the body goes, it needs more bone here because there's so much pressure on that part of my disc. And then it degenerates. And so now the problem is how you were hip hinging every day for a decade.
Right.
And so that's how improving that alignment, the MoveU core brace, and then a hip hinge, you learn those skills, and then you focus on the alignment, and you focus on the technique. You use a mirror, you use this as you do it. You watch, and then you gain insight in your body. You don't rely on somebody else. You kind of watch yourself, you see it, you know what you should do, you know what you shouldn't do, and then that's how you gain awareness doing the training. And then after you gain that awareness, then you take that. Then next thing you know, whenever you're getting stuff out of the laundry or something, you go, oh yeah, hip hinge. Oh yeah.
Yep.
That marks the day that you start to reverse that 15-year process.
Yeah.
So that's how improper movement causes pain. And then alignment first, then fix the movement, then apply the movement to life.
Yep.
But it makes it really fun. Like,
yeah.
It's
you can make it more of a game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun game. Like every time I hip hinge, and many people, they go, my hamstring, I have tight hamstrings, so they'll stretch them. But the reason why, when you're properly hip hinging, okay, when you fully hip hinge, the muscle that stops your hip hinge is your hamstring. But if you're not hip hinging properly, moving from your back, your hamstrings never get lengthened. So that's 3,000 times a day you're not leaning into your hamstrings. How could they ever be loose? You're not using them. Muscles don't get tight just because they need stretched.
Right.
They're often tight because you don't use them the way they were designed. So many of these go back to the movement. In fact, there's a great point you made about ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately, I'm trying to teach people to freaking move better throughout their life.
Right.
MoveU.
Correct.
You know the U in MoveU is university. University. Education.
Before we go to mindset, though, how kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
How do we do that?
You have kids. You have one.
How do we implement and teach young people not to move like crap?
Well, so with movement, there are, most importantly, if you look at something called LTAD, it's called long-term athletic development. It's really great. Canadian has got a good one for hockey, and I suggest you guys look that one up. LTAD is this. It studies, if you take, certain countries have taken their sport, like Canada hockey. They've taken the best hockey players, the top of the top. And what they've done is they studied how they got there. Starting at age 2. What did this kid do?
Yeah.
And then you got to combine that with their certain developmental phases in children. Now, don't quote me on this because I'm a little rusty on it, but like age 3 to 5 is a speed phase, meaning that time frame, your kid should be running fast. And if that kid's not running fast and playing fast during that time frame, they're never going to be as fast as they could have been. Then for boys, age 14 to 20, that's strength phase. Testosterone is releasing. You literally get an injection of testosterone every day. That time frame for boys is the time for them to become strong, physically strong. If you miss it, they're never going to be as strong as they could have been. There's also different phases with this. Even goes back into, and this is where I've just started to highlight this area, and I'm going to dive into this more.
Yeah.
There's even books, and I think the development starts as an infant. The Prague School of Rehab, I've got to find that book, but literally games to play with infants, literally holding them upside down by one ankle is going to encourage them to use their hip flexor.
Interesting.
Allowing kids to crawl. Like, we're in a culture where we encourage kids to stand and walk. But when we cross-crawl pattern, we're using our core. And so when you try to get kids out of that crawling into standing, they may have missed an opportunity to further develop their core and also develop coordination. I'm not an expert in that area.
But it makes sense. You miss a part of development.
You miss it. Like, you get people like, I have one client right now. She pretty much had no training, no workout ever in her life. And now she's 25. And her movements are very uncoordinated.
She's learning now.
She's learning now. Exactly.
Yeah.
She's learning now. So someone like that has to realize the process is just going to take longer.
Right.
And other little things you can do. Just let's talk about shoes, for example, for kids. Right. I mean, first of all, your kids should be barefoot, running around barefoot outside. Like, you shouldn't be worrying about your kids climbing and running. Like, they're running around. They should be barefoot because their feet are developing. But when you put your kids in sneakers, I just saw a post on, I think it was Foot Collector or something. It showed a regular kid's shoe, and then they cut the bottom out. And this kid in there, you can't even see his middle toe because it's above the rest of them because the shoe's compressing it.
Wow. And
so you do that for 2-3 years.
Right.
Even today, look at the shoes that most people wear. And so the development of the foot is highly dependent on the exposure of the foot to the ground. And you also look into side-to-side movements. Your ankle strength, lateral hip strength, those are all side-to-side movements. Soccer, hockey, any cutting sports, side-to-side, right. Cutting when you play is going to help develop the feet and the sides of the hip. And so there is structure.
I'm laughing because I'm like, what do you learn when you play video games?
Right.
What are you doing then?
What do you learn when you play video games? Yeah, you learn kyphosis.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. And so thanks for bringing that. I almost forgot about the kids. So there's a lot to do with the kids. I'm going to get into that stuff. You know what we should do? We'll do some I just need to do a lot more research on my own. Yep. The best one I know for that right now for you guys for children is if you look up Titleist Performance Institute. I know it's golf, but Titleist, it's called mytpi.com. And you look at they have a junior athletics program, and it's really good. They're the best. They're the best I know. Dr. Greg Rose is the founder of it, co-founder. Awesome dude. He was my mentor. I still look up to him today. He went to the same school I did, but they put thousands of hours into kid development. And they actually have my TPI. They have youth development training centers. There's one right here in San Diego. Dude, Milo Brandt runs it. Awesome, dude. Man, if I had a child, I would send him down there all the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like fun stuff. It's like it's all games. And mostly with kids, I get messages from parents goes, my kid's 9, they have scoliosis, they have foot. What exercises? I'm like, really none. They need to be into the physical, into the sport or physical activity that naturally promotes that.
Yep.
It's fun. They have to have fun when they do it. That's a great point. So now we're at...
Let's talk about mindset.
Let's talk about mindset. I like that. I mean, really what fix your shit is mindset.
Totally.
It
sounds so simple, though.
Yeah. It does. Well, part of it's taking accountability. Fix your shit is like... So number one, you might catch yourself doing this. And it's kind of easy to do is because sometimes like we... taking accountability is hard because it means that we're responsible and we got to do something.
Right.
And it's really easy for us humans to kind of blame things first. And so signs with mindset. Well, I should just talk about what mindset is. The best way I can describe the mindset to fixing your shit is this. For you to take something you're good at doing, really good, maybe a degree you've earned, maybe a bachelor, a doctorate, maybe an instrument you're really good at. What are you good at? Saxophone. Maybe you're a great singer. Maybe you're a collegiate level basketball player. Maybe you're you're a great cook. All right. And now let's just take the great cook, for example. And now look back at yourself in the process it's taken you to get there. How many pineapple upside down cakes did you fuck up?
Right.
By the way, when I miscook food, that's the only time you're ever going to see me furious. Like, I'll throw stuff. I've done this.
Really?
Oh, my God. I get so upset. But so the mindset like this cook, you started with what? You didn't start with this freaking 5-star gourmet thing.
Right.
You started with fucking mac and cheese. You started with 3 ingredients. You started with PB&J, right? Maybe you studied a recipe online and you tried to repeat it, and then you expanded that. You learned to apply flavors. Maybe you took some online course, and maybe you even got a degree in culinary. And maybe you integrate, maybe you go to the store and you're buying new flavors and trying it, and you're realizing, oh, that doesn't work. That's disgusting. Throw that away. Ooh, you dial it in.
I like that analogy.
The cook analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of crappy meals before you get to a good one.
It's a lot of crappy meals.
Yeah.
But every crappy meal, if you go, this was crappy,
how do I make it better?
What did I do wrong? What can I learn from this? That's like every setback that you guys have. By the way, every time you have a setback or an exacerbation, there's truth in it. Your body isn't where your mind thinks it is. Your mind thinks, I could do this, and your body says, I don't think so.
Right.
You're not there. But every setback, every time you screw up a pineapple upside down cake, if you just go, screw this pineapple upside down cake, it's the fucking pan, it's the this, you're never going to master that pineapple upside down cake.
That's going to be a long road.
That's going to be a long road. So the mindset that you need is the same mindset that you've achieved something in. And if you haven't achieved something like that, anything I said, if you're none of those things, well, you need something. And you might as well start with this. You might as well start with your body.
Right.
And so this mindset involved in that becoming this culinary expert, sometimes it's degrees, sometimes it's no degrees, but it's a lot of trial and error. There's wins, there's failures, there's improvements, there's experimentations, and it's ultimately you understanding, right? No one's going to become a great culinary expert, I don't even know what it's called, chef, by simply studying a recipe and repeating it. You're just regurgitating. And you know what I find? It's what a lot of physical therapists and chiropractors do. And a lot of people, what they'll do is they just basically, the recipe they learn in school, they just give that to people.
Right.
Okay. But that's it. Actually, the mindset does get into healthcare. So that you can look that up. It's called a growth mindset. Growth mindset is that, the mindset, it's your food. No one's going to make your food for you. Okay. Many people go, I need to go see, even if you go to see, who's a great chef? Gordon Ramsay. Mm-hmm. You're like, I want to be a great chef. You see Gordon Ramsay, right? You see him for 1 hour, 2 hours. You come back home. Now what?
Right.
Are you now an expert after seeing Gordon Ramsay? Is he now going to give you, did you download his information and you become that? No. The mindset is many times you guys go, I saw the best doctor for the Chargers. I saw the chiropractor for the Eagles. I'm going to see this person, and this person. Ultimately, those people, you know a game I grew up with? Do you ever play Zelda? Mm-hmm. You did? Mm-hmm. I heard there's a new Zelda game coming out.
Oh, really?
I haven't played it since Atari.
Yeah, same.
Really?
Yeah.
But remember Zelda, you'd play, right? You ultimately got to do it, but you would meet these like wizards and guides.
Yep.
And they would give you something.
Right.
And you got
That's what they're doing.
That's what these doctors are. They're like guides on your way. But many people go, no, once I get to the thing,
right,
it's game over. No, it's just like it's a point for you to learn something and to carry it with you going forward. But ultimately, you're still hiking. The mindset is you're still climbing the mountain, right? And you're going to slip. You're going to fall. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to bruise your knee. But you can never turn around. It's like you can't turn around and go back. You've got to get up there because that's your ideal life, right? That's your highest expression of you. That's your like ability to say yes to anything and to get back to like skiing and competing and playing baseball again and being a great parent and not fearing your body and not fearing the future and all of these things. Like that's you. Like it's going to take that climb, but you don't need to get to the top. The joy isn't in the top because most people, and I forget the types, like once you realize you're at the top is when you start going down. You look at these pros, these athletes, they never think they're at the top, the ones that just keep climbing, because when you're at the top, you think you know everything. Many people just want to get to the top, but for you, the pain-free life can start in a week. It can start in your first couple journeys. What I found is we've taken, and this is the most, I'm going to give you some, this is maybe the most important thing with mindset. And so we've, like over the last 7 years, I think we've had maybe 80,000 members in our programs, okay? And the people that have done the best, these are the people that transform their body, their life, they're back to doing things they never thought they could do. That's what you want, right? Here's the common theme. They put in about 15 minutes to an hour every day for 30 days. And that's why we have something called the MoveU 30 Challenge. It's not there because we want to call it that. It's there because the people that do the best commit every day for 30 days. And now what happens is this. Is 30 days, is their shit fixed? No, my shit isn't fixed. I'm 23 years in. I still got this knee, this SI joint. I tore my shoulder last year. It's still grinding. It never stops because you always have something, right? Especially if you're being active. Something breaks down, you got to fix it. You're maintaining something that you just fixed already.
You need oil changes.
You need the oil changes. You need your brakes done. It's like this house I have. The trees need cut. In the second, if I leave for a year, this place is going to be a fucking shithole. There's going to be mice in here and termites and my cat won't be able to keep up with the mouse population. Well, the cat will be dead.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So this, where was I?
You're not really happy at the top.
Oh, yeah. So now what I found is this 30 days, 30-day commitment. At 30-day mark, the same thing. It's so predictable. Here's what it is. They'll say, wow, I've made progress that I can really feel. I see the top of the mountain. It's a lot further than I thought it was, but I'm excited. Mm-hmm. And I see the path. I got a lot of work to do, but I'm excited to do it. And because it's that many people think that fixing your shit is like a pill, a shot, a doctor, an adjustment, right? It's one of these things. But when you start exploring and investigating your body and diving deep into your movement, your alignment, the deeper you understand your body movement alignment, the further you could see back in your past as well. So a month in, you see 2 years back, you go, oh my God, I've been doing this for how long? 5 years?
Right.
But you actually feel, I forget the book, it's called like, it's like a Dale Carnegie book or something. It says like to be happy, you need to feel like progress is something you need. Like progress is part of being happy. And so really living a life free from pain can be as soon as 2 weeks or a month, because a month in you gain confidence. You go, oh wow, I got a lot of work to do. And here's what else happens. To oversimplify things, you've got two aspects of being in pain and not knowing. You've got depression and you have anxiety, okay? Depression is when you look back at your past and you get sad. And anxiety is when you're scared of your future. And so especially people that rely on a surgery, somebody else to fix them, maybe this adjustment held. Maybe the surgery worked. There's still always an air of suspense because you didn't do it. You don't know what happened. It just went away. So could it come back at any time? What if it comes back on this trip? What if it comes back snowboarding? So now you're fearing the future, and that's anxiety. You have anxiety about the future because you don't know because someone else did it for you. And then if you look back at your past, you go, oh my God, the last 5 vacations I was on, I tweaked my back and ruined it. So now you got depression backwards and you got anxiety forward. And so much of the mindset aspect is knowing. So many times people ask me, Fabi, they go, hey, is it safe for me to deadlift with a disc herniation? And I'm like, no. Because you don't know.
Right.
If you have to ask me if something's safe, you don't know your body well enough.
Right.
Because when you know your body well enough, you'll know.
Yep.
You need to know. And the only way to know is to do. It's not like a download on Instagram. When you do and train, you know. And then when you know, you're confident in yourself. So anytime someone asks me that, I'm like, no, it's probably not safe for you to do that.
Yep.
So, mindset.
I think you did a good job there.
Thank you. There's a little bit I'll tap on is healthcare, and I try to throw it in. I'm like, where does healthcare fit in there?
Let's not even.
I know. I get so frustrated with the whole system.
We're doing good. Let's not talk about healthcare.
Okay, I put healthcare under mindset, meaning mindset. Here's how I justified it. The knowledge of the professionals in the healthcare system, the knowledge of each one of them, what each one is good at doing.
Right. Do your homework. Know what you're walking into.
What
does this doctor do?
What do they? A lot of people go. They go. I don't know what to do, so I'm seeing the doctor. That's not the answer. It goes. What does the doctor do? Let me give you an example. Medical doctor, MD. Here's what most of them do, and I mean 99%. Here's what they have the tools to do. They can order you medication. They can order you tests like blood tests, X-rays, MRIs. And they have a strong referral system. They know physical therapists, they know surgeons, they know pain management doctors. Those are the 3 things that a medical doctor does. So someone goes, I have back pain, maybe the medical doctor knows. Well, you know that those are the tools they have. They're either going to they're going to give you pills, they're going to send you for testing, or they're going to refer you out to somewhere else. If you think a medical doctor is going to give you exercises, they're not trained in that. They'll hand you a sheet with stick figures on it. Mm-hmm. And a chiropractor, generally speaking, what do? They're going to assess. They know how. They'll take X-rays. And they'll assess the alignment of mostly your spine. Remember, chiropractors are very good at the spine. The extremities, not so much, most of them. So they're going to assess the alignment of your spine, and they're usually going to recommend adjustments to realign your spine. So those are just 2 examples of what. Oh, and the one that really got me stirred up the other week, pain management doctors. Okay. Oh man, I shouldn't even get into this one.
No, let's not.
So those are just 2 examples of what of knowing what each medical person does, so you can go in there. So you know. It's like I was telling Fabi, it's like I know when I go to Chipotle, I know what I'm getting in there.
Right.
I'm gonna get a burrito bowl.
You're not going in for lobster dish.
I'm not going like, what do you guys have in here?
Right.
I'll take it. I know what I'm getting in there.
Right.
And you guys got to look in this medical profession like restaurants, like Italian restaurants. You're getting Italian.
That's really I think that's really good advice for people though, and I think it's something that they should hear. Like, do your homework before you just go to these people that you just assume you're supposed to trust.
Yes.
Or that they have the answers.
They have the answers.
Do your own homework first.
They only have so many. Chipotle's like, look, I can make you a really good burrito bowl.
Yeah.
That's what we can do.
We're not even saying don't go.
No.
Just do your homework.
Do your homework.
Do your due diligence.
Some people, they get back pain. They go, I'm going to go see it. I got a really good surgeon. Guys.
Right.
Surgeon.
Right.
Here's what surgeons
Guess what they're going to recommend.
Not always, but for the most part. Remember, surgeons operate.
Right.
They're really good at that. They don't understand the exercise. They don't understand the movements. The surgeon's going to do this. They're going to send you for an X-ray or MRI. They're going to look at it. They're going to see if you qualify for surgery. If you don't qualify, they're going to say, come back in 5 years whenever you do qualify for surgery.
Yep.
They operate. That's what they do. So, and I think I did. Wait, I already did a podcast on this, didn't I? All the professions. I did.
Let's talk about recovery before we end.
Oh, that's it. Oh, my goodness. We got to get going. Okay. Last and least. No, I'm joking. Okay. The last one, I've recently added this one. The fourth pillar is recovery. And my definitions of recovery, but recovery is important. And it made the top 4 list, okay? It made the top 4 list. And what recovery is these are tools and therapies that aid in the recovery of your tissues, your bones, your joints, your nerves. So for example, recovery. Many of you maybe go, hey, I have an autoimmune condition and I have back pain. I'm like, well, autoimmune condition meaning your body is attacking itself. And so there's something likely that you're putting in your body somehow. Maybe you're living underneath fucking power lines. Okay? You're eating something, causing your body to react and cause inflammation in your body. So a recovery tool for an anti-inflammatory, while yes, somebody who has rheumatoid arthritis has severe back pain, yes, they'll likely have a misalignment with their core, with their back. But that is amplified by the systemic circulation of inflammatories in their blood. This inflammatory acidic state of their blood is now adding fuel to that misalignment. So recovery tools are things like, right now is like, what I'm loving is cold plunging. Just love it. I did a whole expedition with Wim Hof. And I also joked with Fabi. I said, now the great thing about adding recovery is it means I get awesome free recovery tools, which is nice. Recent additions, infrared heat blanket.
I'm obsessed.
Oh my, the reason I just get way too hot.
Blanket,
It literally gets passed around. Katie lives in that thing.
I'm obsessed.
She would sleep in it.
Yeah, I would too.
Really?
Yeah. Infrared
heat, laser, red light therapy, shockwave therapy, TENS units, stretching, massaging,
it's endless.
Cold plunge, cold, heat. Let me try to keep giving the list. Everyone's just like, let's go. Theragun, percussion devices. These are recovery tools. And so what they're meant to do is here's what they're designed to do. If you have a hard day of deadlifting, right? Let's say you're deadlifting, for example, for lifters. You're deadlifting. Your hamstrings and glutes are sore. There was lactic acid. They're sore. So now by putting those therapies on top of that tissue, that tissue might take a week to recover, or 5 days to recover, 3 days to recover. You might be able to expedite it into a day and a half. Okay? And so it's designed to help the tissues it's designed to help the intended target muscles and tissues. The muscles and tissues you intend to train is designed to help those recover and return to their normal state. Because what can happen is if those don't properly recover, now you can have issues, tendinitis, inflammation, scar tissue, and different different long-term tissue disorders that can occur from not properly recovering. And so recovery is important. And I really want to get to the point where I see most people thinking that the recovery should get them to fix their pain. I see it all the time.
It should be a part of your journey, but it's not going to fix you.
Fixes nothing.
No.
It'll give you usually some quick relief.
Yeah.
Like if you get a nice massage, you feel better pretty quick, and that is very beneficial for your muscles and for your mind.
Right.
Right? But if the problem exists is if you're completely out of alignment and you're moving like shit, right? And you're jamming joints down, that massage and that adjustment and that laser it's such a poor, it's not enough to counteract the negative movements. If anything, it'll help you feel better as the plane is aimed at the ground. Okay? that's what it will do if you use it by itself. You'll feel more comfortable as you decline to your demise. Okay. So recovery tools, super important, super great. And guys, recently as well, I personally have been, I'm kind of like overall, that's probably my weak spot is recovery. That's my weakness. I don't do much recovery, but I've been doing I love cold immersion. Love that. I've been loving that recently. I haven't missed a single day of cold since Wim Hof.
That's great.
I actually thought about it. I missed 2 days, and the reason why I was in Palm Springs, I had no access to cold water. There was no cold shower. There was no cold nothing.
Interesting.
But recovery. And I do put nutrition underneath recovery because it needs to fit somewhere. Nutrition could be its own number 5. I would say it's number 5 in the list, but just didn't quite make the list.
Yep.
Kind of got pushed into number 4. So in summary, your 4-wheel drive vehicle, for those of you, let me say this way, whether you're absolutely feel stuck in chronic pain, disabled, barely able to move, let's say you're there, or you are somebody who is looking to become a professional athlete and you currently have no pain, none. Both parties, I'm trying to give 2 extreme examples. You need to assess these same 4. There's no difference. Those same 4. What are areas that you need to improve in?
Yep.
What are the areas that you need to improve in? And also, you need to stay strong with, maybe you need to actually lessen some areas that you're doubling down on and just redistribute that effort into other areas. Ultimately, I'm going to be myself and MoveU. We focus very heavy on alignment, on mindset, second, and then tied with second is movement. Somewhat in recovery is in there. You're going to see more recovery here with MoveU. So you pick those areas, and then you need all 4 wheels turning. You need all 4 wheels turning for a period of time before you start to feel those results. But you need to trust that process is going to get you there. There is trust in the process.
Yep.
Results tend to, especially long-term results of pain, tend to lag behind, especially issues with nerves. Nerves are the longest to heal. Ligaments, tendons are second longest to heal. Muscles are fastest to heal. Joints, discs also can take time to heal. So many of these times, what you're going to find is you're improving your movement. Your movements are improving. You're feeling stronger, but your pain is still there. And for you people, you need to understand that the only thing that you can control your mindset, your alignment, your movement, and your recovery. Those are your controllable variables. You focus on improving those, and your results, they will follow. That's the faith that you also need to have in that. There's sometimes just some lag time that happens.
I love it.
So alignment, movement, mindset, and recovery, your 4 pillars to a life.
The 4 wheels in motion.
4 wheels in motion, always until you die.
Fix your shit.
Fix your shit.